What's up, guys? It's Casey Solomon, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with the rather sizable Hocus Pocus news update. So, a few hours ago, I was at work, and I took my break, and I went up to my desk, and I opened Instagram, and everybody was going crazy. And I opened my Discord, and everybody was going crazy. And I went on Facebook, and everybody was going crazy. And I checked my YouTube notifications, and you guys were blowing them up. Because we have confirmation, I'm using the word loosely, that we're getting Hocus Pocus 3.
Just take them old records off the shelf. I said, listen to what I said.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
I suggest we form a calming circle. I am calm!
Now, I'm using the word loosely. Just because I know how things work when they're in development. And sometimes they don't make it out of development. They are never fully developed. But we're also, because I also want to look closer at the article that everyone is talking about, and then look at the original article that they pulled this from. So, let's talk about it. The first one is the one that everybody's going nuts over. It's from Wow News Today. And it says, Hocus Pocus 3 will be happening, says Walt Disney Studios executive. Hocus Pocus 3 has gotten the green light. The fan-favorite Halloween movie about the Sanderson sisters will be getting a third movie. According to a New York Times article profiling Sean Bailey, who is responsible for many of the live-action Disney movies, the Sanderson sisters will be back again for Hocus Pocus 3. In the article, Bailey says, yes, Hocus Pocus 3 is happening. His division is responsible for 2 or 3 big-budget films annually for release in theaters. They are also responsible for 3 modestly budgeted movies for Disney+. Details for the new movie have not been announced yet. So that's the one that everybody's kind of losing their minds over. And frankly, I don't know how to feel. Because a lot of you are very excited. Me, on the other hand, I am very, very scared. I am very, very scared. I'm very scared. I was scared for 2 as well, and that turned out great. So my fears could be for nothing, or they could be for everything. Because we're getting into dangerous waters. Now, that was that article. I want to look at the New York Times article that profiled Sean Bailey, and I want to find that specific mention of Hocus Pocus 3. So, starting at the top, I have to scroll and keep scrolling and continue scrolling until I get to just about 3/4 of the way through. This is the paragraph where it is mentioned. Sean Bailey does not say those words. This is what the New York Times article says. Mr. Bailey, who watched The Little Mermaid 18 times as it worked its way through Disney's pipeline, has more than 50 movies in various stages of development and production, including live-action versions of Moana, Hercules, and Lilo and Stitch. Yes, Hocus Pocus 3 is happening. And then it goes on to say that about his division. That's all it says, guys. It also says he has more than 50 movies in various stages of development and production. So, and I'm going to post it in the description so you guys can read it for yourselves. So, personally, that being one of like 50 movies they have in development, I don't know how much of a real confirmation that is. In development, in various stages of production. That could mean it's sitting there with just, like, it's on the whiteboard, but it could be somewhere in the middle of the whiteboard and not, like, where you guys are kind of thinking it might be. It's probably not very high up on the whiteboard. It's probably somewhere near the bottom of the whiteboard. Although, as discussed previously, Hocus Pocus 2 is the most successful Disney Plus movie they have ever pumped out. But something else I have also talked about is there was a lot of people who were disappointed in Hocus Pocus 2. So frankly, I don't know that a third one would be as successful as 2 was. Not to mention, we had so much time between 1 and 2, so it kind of felt more like a historical cultural event than it did just a release. So I'm gonna talk about just about 8 talking points for you guys that I think we need to address before we get too excited. Because frankly, I don't know how I feel. I really don't know how I feel right now. Because, like, part of me is like, yeah, let's do a third one. Let's get more Sanderson sisters. Let's do it. But there's an even louder little voice in my head going, this is a bad idea. Like, I don't know how to feel. As I've said previously, I'm not going to kick it out of bed unless it's, like, really, really bad. But at the same time, I don't know that we actually want this. I don't know that we want this. So let me just go over these talking points with you guys, and I'll explain my thoughts a little bit further. I know a lot of you are probably like, why is she not jumping out of her seat right now? Because I'm terrified. Because I'm terrified. That's why. Like, it's an exciting thought to know that we could get a trilogy of movies. Like, it'd be awesome if we got a trilogy of movies. But trilogies of movies can end one of 2 ways. I know this is like... Where did I head? This is talking point number 5, but let's just go on and open with it. We're heading into very dangerous waters, you guys. We're heading into dangerous waters. Trilogies can end perfectly, like Toy Story 3 wrapped up the first 2 really, really well. Return of the Jedi wrapped up Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope really, really well. How to Train Your Dragon 3 wrapped up the first 2 really, really well. Made us all cry. Or they can end poorly, like something called The Santa Claus 3. That was a rough movie. That was a very rough movie. And then there was Stuart Little 3 that I watched once, because I was like, I don't even know what's happening here. This is weird. And others along those lines. They can go one of 2 ways. I'll point the big old finger at Disney's sequel trilogy for Star Wars. Like, it's a scary ocean we are about to be treading. It's very dangerous waters. It's like, there's rocks ahead, Captain. I don't know if we're gonna be able to dodge them. Like, there's a lot that could go wrong. And it could also be one of those that they never end and become like the Toy Story franchise. I say as number 5 is in development. Nobody asked for 4. Like... Trilogies are scary, guys. They can be very scary. They can be very good. They can be very good. I'm not denying that at all. This could be fantastic. It could be great. I could be scared for nothing. But these are dangerous waters, and I'm very nervous. I'm very, very nervous. Now, let's just backtrack a little bit, since that was point number 5 that I just kind of came out of the gate with swinging. Number 1, this movie is only in development. This means it could be there for years and not make it to the finish line. It could just not be developed. It could just die in the conference room. We don't know that we're gonna actually get it. Do you know how many movies die before they make it to production? A lot. A lot. Like, be excited, but be cautiously optimistic. Be cautiously optimistic, because it could very well not make it out of development, guys. And then 2, I don't know that this is a confirmation, because Sean Bailey physically did not say that this was happening. The author of the article did. He did not say it. He said, or reported that there are over 50 movies in various stages of development and production. That's a lot. That's a lot. A lot. So, I don't know that this is a confirmation. I mean, it is and it isn't at the same time. I trust it more because it came from the New York Times and it did come from a profile on the guy. But at the same time, I don't know that I fully trust this as a confirmation. Because it could just be like, yes, it's on the whiteboard. Will we get to it? I don't know. It's on the whiteboard, though. Now, number 3, this could easily lead to something that we don't want. The Sanderson sisters not returning. Them only being there for a short cameo. An adaptation of the A.W. Jantha book that made me want to gouge my eyes out with a rusty spoon. Recasting Kathy, Bette, and Sarah Jessica, etc. Like, there are a lot of possibilities here that I don't like. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of things that this could lead to that we won't like as the fans. And you guys might be all excited now, then you find out all this stuff's like, ooh, guy got excited too soon. So, like, I'm very fearful that stuff like that could happen. And that's not something I really want to see happen. No, it's not. And then, kind of coming off of the whole comment on the A.W. Jantha book, the story could be lukewarm at best, or it could retcon previous events that happened in Hocus Pocus 1 and 2. Retconning drives me crazy. Unless it's, like, a good one. Like, I guess you could argue that there was a small retcon in Hocus Pocus 2 with their parentage because they started talking about their father, but at the same time, we never really got a confirmation on who their parents were, so the only way we did was in the novelization of the first one. That was based off the first draft of the script, not even the final script, so that really, I wouldn't count that as a retcon, personally. It was just more confirmation stuff. But the story could be lukewarm. Like, when you get to number 3, you really have to have an overarching narrative for the main characters. And I know everybody's like, oh, well, Binks was the main character in the first one. Beck is the main character in the second one. No. Guess who appeared in both of those movies? The Sanderson sisters. Guess who was the central point of both of those movies? The Sanderson sisters. I feel like their arc was finished in 2. But, and I'll get to this in a little bit, there are ways to continue doing stuff with them, but it's not going to be ways that everybody's going to like. Because of how 2 ended. So, the story worries me. We can skip over 5 because I already talked about that. Number 6, if this does come to fruition and they have any and every intention of bringing back Bette, Sarah, and Kathy, they gotta do this sooner rather than later. We don't have time to be dilly-dallying around with this. Like, we all know why. I don't have to say it, and I don't want to say it. Because I feel like I'm putting stuff out in the universe when I say that, and I don't want to do it. But we also don't want it rushed, and we need it to be good. Because like I said, number 3 is always the really scary territory. It's always the scary territory. It could be good, or it could fail miserably. Rushing scripts and movies gives us stuff like Batman and Robin. You want to know why that movie was so bad? Because Warner Brothers was like, well, the last one made us a ton of money. Pump this next one out as quickly as possible. So, we don't want something like that, do we? Now, to be fair, I do enjoy Batman and Robin, but it is a bad movie. Like, it's a bad movie. It's just... It's so bad, it's good. So, we don't want something like that. We don't want it to be rushed, but we also can't be just lollygagging around waiting for another X amount of years because of reasons that are very painfully obvious that people complained about with number 2, and they can shove that complaint where the sun don't shine, personally. because that's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid. Now, number 7, if the Sanderson sisters do come back. I really, really hate to burst everyone's bubble, but this is what I was talking about earlier. There are ways to keep doing stuff with them that's not just the same old song and dance. They can't be bad guys anymore. They can't be bad guys anymore. They're gonna have to give being good guys a try, and honestly, I think that would be funnier than seeing them be evil again. Trying to make the right choice would be hysterical for those 3, as their way of life has been one way for 300 plus years. It would be very funny seeing them try to be good. And them, like, seeing them try to resist the urge to terrify kids, and in some cases make a meal of them, would just be really funny to watch. Just them trying to not do what they normally do, and start kind of developing, like, nervous tics, kind of stuff like that. It would be very funny. We'd still get plenty of goofy antics, but it wouldn't be the same old song and dance. It would also bring their story full circle, as they didn't start off being evil, and they could end that way. I think it would be a good way to make them go in a full circle. We got back to where we started, where we went wrong. Like, I think that is the way we have to go with this. That's the way we have to go. I know everybody is going to argue with me in the comments. Well, we can do this, this, or this to make sure they're evil again. That would involve retconning. I don't want them to be evil again. Do not involve retconning into this, because it's not necessary. Retcons are very annoying. They are very annoying, and they're confusing, and they take what's good about somebody else's story and just stomp all over them. Like, I don't like it when things get retconned. I laid out a really good story on how I think it should go, how I think it could go, how I think it could make sense, and it could be done that way. I gave you guys a blueprint, and you can watch it by clicking on this thing right here. Like, there's your blueprint. I want credit, but there's your blueprint on how you could make a 3 work and make it make sense with the other 2. Now, to be fair, one of my subs did have a decent job that, like, they come back and they run into Mother Witch or somebody they run into the main villain, and they could get put under a spell to be turned evil again. I could see that maybe working. But at the same time, I'd really like to see them take a crack at being good guys, because it'd just be hilarious trying to see these 3 knuckleheads that I love so, so much trying to navigate the territory of being good. Like, it would just be very interesting to see them try to be good guys. Now, number 8. This is something that is a very real possibility. And it's not one that I am optimistic about. And I do not like the idea of it. If the Sanderson sisters are not involved, nor are any of the original protagonists, then we don't want this. We don't want this. It's not Hocus Pocus without the Sanderson sisters. It's not Hocus Pocus without them. I might give you a pass. Maybe. A very small pass if you get the original protagonist back. But without the Sanderson sisters, it is not Hocus Pocus. They are the main characters of this series. Argue with me all you want. They are the main characters of this series. They were the main characters of 1. They are the main characters of 2. If you haven't watched my video on how I prove that they are the protagonists, you can watch it by clicking on this thing right here. If they do not involve them at all, call it a spin-off and it'll be better. Just call it a spin-off. Do not call it Hocus Pocus 3. Because if it's Hocus Pocus 3, I fully expect the Sanderson sisters. I fully, 100% expect them in a full capacity, not just a cameo. So, this is good news for the fandom in a way. It is good news. But at the same time, it's scary news. It's very scary news. I'm terrified, personally. Like, you guys were so excited in the Discord. Which, by the way, if you haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. It's a lot of fun over there. You guys can talk about your Hocus Pocus 3 theories. It's a lot of fun. I'm in there as much as I can be. I've been very tired lately, so I've been a lot less active, but I am in there. So you guys were all super pumped. A lot of you were super pumped. Some of you were skeptical like I was, which I think is a good way to be. It's a very good way to be. But I saw that, and my first thought was, I don't know how to feel about this. Because when 2 was announced, I lost my marbles. I went crazy. You saw me cry over the teaser trailer, which we're coming up on a year since that happened. But this one, when they said, yes, it's happening, I kind of went, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna need a whole lot more to go on other than, oh yeah, it's happening. Because right now, all I'm feeling is nerves. Like, I want to be excited. But I've seen too many trilogies end up lately. I just don't want to see that happen here. I don't want them to just turn this into a shameless cash grab, because it would be a shameful cash grab. The characters don't deserve that. Sarah Mary and Winifred do not deserve that. They don't need to be turned into Buzz and Woody. Like, let's stop beating a dead horse. It's like Bet and Kathy said, they don't know how they would do it. And I don't know how they would do it either, apart from the way that I laid out. I'm not saying it has to be exactly like mine, but something along those lines, because it's the only way it would make sense. It has to make sense. It has to fit in with the continuity. If it doesn't do that, then it's not Hocus Pocus 3. It's something else. But could this just be a way of them saying prequel? If Hocus Pocus 3 is a prequel, I'm on board. I am on board that train. I have bought my ticket. Let's go. I am good with a prequel. I am more than happy with a prequel. Let's frickin' go. Let's frickin' do a prequel. I mean, they made Tarzan 2 a prequel. Not that it was very good, but it's an example, okay? That's a prequel. So they could make the third one a prequel about their childhood. They could do that. And I wouldn't be mad about that. I wouldn't be mad if we saw Bet, Kathy, and Sarah Jessica again. But that honestly scares me more. It scares me more because I don't know how they would do a story to where it makes sense with 2. I don't want to see 2 retconned, as much as a lot of people didn't like how it ended and how they got redeemed, etc., etc., etc. I liked that. I loved that. I thought it was really great. I don't want to see that retconned. Retconning scares me, as I have said multiple times throughout this video. I just don't know how I feel about it currently. It looks like it's happening. But we don't know when. Anybody asking me, oh, is it gonna come out next year? Dude, we just got the announcement that it's even happening today. Like, I don't know, guys. I will tell you anything and everything I find out. I will be listening for updates. I will be watching for updates on every news platform I follow. You guys will know when I know. You'll know probably before I know, because I do work 40 hours a week. Which, by the way, I appreciate you guys being patient with me lately, because I know everything hasn't been coming out on Mondays, but I have been very busy at my day-to-day job. That job comes first. It comes before this does. This is a part-time gig. I love doing this. This is a great second job to have, but my main job comes first. So when I can't do stuff or I have to take streams off or something, I appreciate that you guys are patient with me. I know it disappoints you, but I have to do what I have to do sometimes, and I just appreciate your patience very, very much. Just wanted to plug that in there real quick. So I think it's happening. But I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know who, I don't know what, I don't know why. I mean, I know why. We all know why. The money. But I don't know anything other than what you all know. But after looking at the NY Times article closer, I think it's hardly a confirmation, but it is a confirmation that 3 is in at least some stage of development, but we don't know that it'll make it out of development. We don't know if it'll make it to production. We don't know how it's going to work. We don't know who it's going to work with. We don't know anything other than that. So I don't know any details. I just know that it's on their whiteboard. It's on their whiteboard. So this was a very, very spur of the moment thing, because I was planning on coming home and doing my relating to Sarah Sanderson video this week, and that didn't happen because this happened. So you guys are getting a video tonight, and then you'll see me for Black Flame Gaming on Friday night, because I have so much to do this weekend. I'm going to be very tired, and Black Flame Gaming is going to have to happen on Friday. So just stick around for that. It's going to be fun. That's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It helps me, and what helps me helps you guys get more great content like this and any other possible Hocus Pocus 3 news updates we have. I'll say it. If Bet, Sarah, and Kathy sign on, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. The day I see those tweets go out again is the day I'm on board. But until that time, I'm terrified. On July 16th, speaking of Hocus Pocus, like we always do, on July 16th, I will be having a 30th anniversary watch-along here on the channel of the Hocus Pocus Trivia and Treats edition, which you can find on Disney Plus in extras, here on the channel. If you guys can get, that'll be taking place at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That'll be on Sunday, July 16th, on the 30th anniversary of the movie. And if you can get me to 1,500 subscribers before then, which we're getting very close, I will dress up as Sarah Sanderson for the watch-along, because she is the only one I have not done for a watch-along on screen yet. I've done the other two. It's Sarah's turn. So, so there's that. I already told you about Black Flame Gaming. I did this out of order. I wasn't ready for this tonight, guys. I wasn't ready. So if you're a regular on this channel, please remember to drop a like and share your thoughts on the possibility of a Hocus Pocus 3 down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Casey Zogelman, aka the 4th Sanderson sister, and I'll see you witches and wizards later.
I put a spell on you.